Hi everyone, this is Mohammed here, SoundClogic. Today I'm walking through a CDF scenario in our cyber range where we investigate an RDP compromise on host Flare. We detected this through MDE, and I'll show you how to hunt through the attack using KQL queries in advanced hunting. Obviously, this is a simulated event. So, first thing um, I'd like to do is like a quick checklist. Um, initial RDP compromise, external IPs targeting Flare with multiple failed RDP attempts followed by success. The account accounts that saw failure than success, first and last observed malicious activity, quick OSINT on candidate IPs that we do find. So let's do a run. So we can see already there's two IPs there and not not much more activity, but at least we know there is some logs. So the other step here is to sort of find candidate IPs. So this is a KQL I like to use, and these are sort of the parameters. You can increase it to 3, 5, 10, depending on what your investigation is. But I usually go for 3 because usually people fail once or twice. 3 is kind of the sweet spot there, but you can do 5 as well, but 3, I like doing 3. So we know it's the 14th, and I'll just decrease the time range and give it a couple of more days and see what we can see. So we can see that this particular IP has had 10 failures and 5 successes. So once we confirm a candidate IP, we put that in our notes, of course. We can then get a specific timeline of the successful logins and see what's happening on the device login events. So once we run that, we can see quite a few successful logins, but the most important part is we know the earliest successful login, which was 184057, and that's the IP, and it's constant throughout. So they've been logging in and logging out quite a bit. So after that, we can start drilling into the IP itself. Obviously, you can go and check it on Virus Total or Abuse IDB, IPDB. These are my go-tos, and then obviously you can do domain checks and stuff like that, but we won't do that here. Um, once once we sort of get an IP, we can then sort of start looking into the device process events and check for activity. So usually I do 1 hour, and just to get a quick lay of the land and see what's happening. So let's have a look. Can we see anything? So basically what I'm trying to look for here is discovery commands, PowerShell being executed, CMD, that kind of thing. Any weird file names that don't look, don't look something that Windows was execute. So not local to the system. So what can we see here? As you can probably see, we can see quite a bit of activity at the end here. So we can see a script that was created and then executed, and then we see an ms update.exe, which is invoking PowerShell, and it's executing another one from users public, which is a common thing that attackers like to abuse because they can write files to that. And then we see who am I, and then we can see a service being created here. So and so we've got another one here, ms cloud sync.ps1, and we have some sort of ms update service. So this is all like masquerading. So we can see sc.exe description. These are all things we can use for KQL queries to help us and guide us in our investigation. So there's definitely uh, some malicious activity going on, so we can start digging into more. So something that I like to do quite a bit, since we have an IP that is suspicious and it's done some sort of suspicious things on the Flare VM system host. So we can do a full environment scope and see what other IPs this device has contacted. So let's do a wide check of the whole environment. So we can see that the device is SL Flare. That is the only one that's had contact with this particular IP. So this is sort of gives us a scope of the whole environment and see where else he might have logged in. And obviously, we can't see uh, the compromise is only limited to Flare. So that's good, because if they've managed to compromise other systems, then we need to be able to pivot to them and see what's happening there. Because if we need if it's a critical system like a domain controller or something like that, then we need to sort of isolate and sort of escalate it pretty quick. So after that, I like to go to sort of execution collection, and I usually do the first hour and then go to 6 hours. So we already checked the first hour, so let's expand and see what we can see on the 6 hours. Oops, need to change that to 17. There we go. Obviously, you can reduce the time there to where we see suspicious activity, but I'm just going to scroll down and just quickly look at. So we got task list here, which is quite important. Some network enumeration there. He's also WMIC computer system get domain, so he's looking for domain controllers and stuff like that. So that's a critical find. So we should put that in the report, as well as the other discovery commands that we found. And let's keep going down. We can see basically the full attack chain here. So they've obviously looked at files, collected files, zipped them up, and then exfiltrated them to that particular IP. So this is another critical find. So this is the exfil IP by the looks of it, and then obviously they've used uh, uh, an uncommon port to upload the files, and we can see that they've compromised the system basically. So they were able to get in via brute force, execute some scripts, steal some files, and exfiltrate them to the C2 server. So we've got a full attack chain there. So we can check this IP. You can see it's a vulture IP there. So that could be his C2 infrastructure. Obviously, this is for simulation purposes. I tried to make it as real as possible, but they'll probably have a domain or something and quite a lot of IPs they can rotate and stuff like that. So it's good to know how C2 frameworks work, so you can recognize them in the logs. So after that, we can sort of get an idea that we've got quite a bit of information there. Update check, WMI maintenance, MS Cloud Sync. So there's a couple of files there, and then we've got the exe, PowerShell, CMD. Those are the things they used. So we can sort of narrow it down. I've kept the 6 hour window because there doesn't seem to be any more activity after that. So we can run that and see. Oopsie daisy. That's not good. Need to filter that. So if we do that, get 146 sort of logs. Obviously, it's going to bring up other stuff that we don't actually care about, but it's good to do some more checks and see what other places in the operating system that those particular files have touched. So just basically go through it there. So let's see. So this looks a bit weird. So it's something you can look into. So maybe some lateral movement. Oh, so they've added a guest account. So that's something to put in there. And giving it a password by the looks of it. Yeah, guest add account. So this is kind of trying to bring up all the PowerShell and CMD. You can see what's going on. And these are, of course, the cyber range kind of IOCs for the different scenarios. Just keep going through, see if there's anything else that we can see that is weird. These are all systems, so that's just fine there. We can just leave that there. and concentrate on the other stages. So there's other things I like to do is check for encoded obfuscated PowerShell. So this is my go-to KQL there. So we can do that as well. There isn't any, so that's good. We don't have to look at for any base 64 stuff. So this is, so we saw earlier on SE create that service, new service, create service bin path. So anything that contains those particular arguments in the command line is something to filter for. So as you can see, let me do it full screen there. MSU update. So we've got the full path there. We've got the other file. So this could be a backup. Could be some sort of backup script in case they lose access or something like that, because it seems to be repeated there twice. So MSU update, MSU update. So these are all IOCs that we need to put in our report that we found. And then persistence and evasion is the sort of the next step and go to sort of check what's going on the system. So these are typical uh, registry keys that you should check and see what you get. So there isn't anything there. So let's check for scheduled task in the registry. So there's quite a few there. There's about 20. So let's make it a little bit bigger. Just spread it out there. So we got these all look normal. Oh, we got Microsoft Update Sync. Yeah, that's dodgy as hell. Edge dot update task, but this is stuff of simulations I've done after. But for our scenario and the time frame, this looks dodgy as hell. So this is another critical IOC that we need to find and put in the report. And then defender exclusions is another thing that threat actors like to do. So they're able to sort of uh, keep their scripts hidden and run them without AV or EDR touching them. So yeah, we do the same thing here. Just up. So these it basically tells us which registry keys are being played about with. So we can see there's quite a few things here. This is on the 12th. It's not the time of the attack, but here the 16th, we can see Windows temp is being used probably to put the scripts and run them from there. So that's another critical IOC we should put into our report. I know I didn't do any flags for credential access and dumping, but it's always good to check because it's one of the things that threat actors like to do. So this is one of the KQLs and sort of what usually comes up in the command line for typical dumping behavior. So if we run that, there isn't any for that particular time window of the attack. And then another thing is I like to check for lateral movement. So we saw WMIC being used earlier. So it just being thorough is good. So we can see it's only contained within the Flare VM. This is the command that we saw earlier, just to hone in on it and see how many times it's being used or if it's used to. There we go. So this is something we can put in the report that we found. And then obviously we go to discovery and collection and we'll see what we get. So obviously we looked at all the discovery commands, but it's good to sort of hone in on them and see exactly what they're trying to enumerate and get into. Gives you sort of an indication of what they're trying to go after. Also looking for sort of files that get archived or compressed is another thing that we need to check. And again, the same time frame, and we don't seem to see any. Okay. Let me change that to the 18th. Okay. I don't know why it's not showing that. It should show up that particular zip file, but things like that happen. So maybe There's something, let's forget about the action type. Let's try and make it a little bit simpler. No. Okay, let's remove that. See, sometimes queries don't work, so you have to sort of try. Uh, let's try this. Is there any actually in the environment or not? So there's definitely there is. So I don't know why Flare's not picking that up, but so I'm just not going to project anything and see if we get any results. Really? All right, let's remove the timestamp, see what we get. No. Okay. Very weird. All right, so we're gonna skip on that one. Let me do another one. Since device file events is not showing up, we did see. Let's get rid of that. Let's keep the time. Let's get rid of this. Where file name contains .zip, since it was a zip file anyway. So, oh, okay. I have no idea why that's not working. So that means it's not come up on there. So let's try a different one. Device process events. This is not, it's not working there for some reason, so it must have not been captured on the device. Not working there either. What the hell's going on? Should be working. Anyway. Okay, check for file discovery in sensitive locations. So the device file events, these are sort of the typical folders that get checked. It's quite a lot of events. Obviously, we can do that, do this. No, can't see. Oh, what's that? Network credentials, text, financial report. Okay, back up. No, so now it's showing up. See, that was weird. I don't know why it didn't work there. So, see, device, file, events, and we got Flare, then we got that, and then we have .zip, so I should have found it. I don't know why. Folder path. We don't want folder path. We want file name, where file name ends with zip, I guess. Let's see if that works. .zip. No? Okay. Fine. Anyway, does not like that. Let's try contains. It's bugging me now. .zip. This is KQL. Sometimes it acts weird. Yeah, it's not liking that for some reason. I don't know why. As you can see, it's basically the same thing. But I mean, put the. Let's try that. No, not liking it at all. So let's file name has any, and let's do what we did there. Just copy that and do it there. See if that works. No. All right, I'm going to leave that then. Not sure why it's not working, but at least here we can see that some files were taken, so we can make it a little bit bigger. So there's two files there that are being created. That looks like probably what's been exfiltrated. You can see the zip file there, backup.sync. We saw it in executions as well, device execution, so we can use it. We could have, without doing this whole .zip thing, we could have just looked for the file name basically. But I was just trying to show a KQL where you can look at different extensions and compressed file extensions. But looks like my query doesn't work properly, so I need to figure that out. Then we saw in the device executions the remote IP 185.92, so we can do a full scope and see where else anything has been exfiltrated to, because we know that particular file was used. So we can see MSU update.ca contacted this IP, and then PowerShell, and then curl. So we know definitely something got taken. So device file events. So file name, we know the file name now, and the folder path obviously. And then we sort of connected it to did like a device networks join inner. This is a simple one that could be really helpful to sort of narrow down any files that you find or any compressed archives. So if we do that, we can see that 2 times it was exfiltrated to 8081. And that's basically kind of the investigation. We had a bit of a hiccup with the whole finding out the archive files, but there's something we can work on for sure. Right, so I have no idea why it's not working, but no, it's not liking that either. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave it there. So the file name ends with didn't work. Don't know why. Maybe we have to project it. Let's project timestamp and file name, folder path, initiating process account name, and yeah, we'll just do that. Okay, so we can remove that as well and see why we're not getting any results. Yeah, we're not getting anything at all. It's weird. Ah, silly me. Right, so I put device name equal equal, it should be contains. You see? That's hilarious. Oh my god, I was racking my brain. What the hell's going on? Oh, here we go. We should get something now. Oh, there we go. What a see what I mean? You have to keep checking your KQL and see why it's not working. So if I wanted to use the equal equal, I should have put the full device name, which was SL Flare something something. I think it was. That's the account name on Windows, and then obviously the device name is the full name that we saw earlier. So I think we saw it here. No, what was it at the beginning? There we go. Nope. Sorry, guys. This is it. There we go. So just to show you that it does work, I just put the stupid wrong name. Where was it? That one there. So instead of contains, we had equal equal. So we can just put that one there. Should work. There we go. So I just had the wrong thing there. So that's basically wraps up the whole investigation, and then obviously all those notes and all the different ISEs and the flags. You just when you write the report, you can have a look at the template, and that kind of gives you the uh, whole thing. Um, I have designed a whole sort of like a repo for you guys to check out. So I hope you guys make use of it. So this is also I did a website for the actual thing. So this is the website that has the attack chain and all sort of the documentation. So when you click on that, you'll see all the different project details. But I wanted to sort of spice it up a little bit and add a website for it and sort of go through the sort of the different things we saw: initial access, script deployment process, injection, persistence established, defensive evasion, discovery, all the information that we found when we did all our different checks. Uh, Also the timeline. So this is the sort of the timeline when they first successfully got in, and then all the different details there, and then just execution, what files were dropped, defensive evasion, and just basically say just put down what you found in the timeline. And then we go to MITRE. So this is the heat map. So these are the different techniques that were used. And then you have this is in more detail and sort of goes through the initial access, what was used, execution, persistence, all the things in the attack. And then we got exfil, what which folders, what actually got taken, and sort of where it got exfiltrated to. So it gives the full report there. So thank you for sticking with me. This is my actual first video, so apologies if I started going on a bit too much, and hopefully you find this useful. Appreciate any feedback, and talk to you guys soon. See you later. Bye.